Hello and good evening. My name is Andy Crook and I'm your host for tonight's training topic of the marketing brief. If it's your first time here, welcome. Every week I try and do a 15-minute talk on a training topic along one of the 5 pillars of business success. Today's pillar is marketing, and we're going to be covering the marketing brief. My purpose is to help garage owners become more successful in business. And to that end, I do one of these training topics every week. If what I talk about tonight is helpful, please get in touch, send me a message, and we can discuss whether or not you are a suitable candidate for the Atomic Success Program. So, tonight's topic, all about the marketing brief. The interesting thing about marketing briefs is very, very few people I speak to have one or use one when they go about their marketing. Their marketing for that reason then becomes a bit woolly or hock. So why do we need a marketing brief? Well, basically it provides the focus for your marketing activities. The marketing brief sets out the aims and objectives of your marketing campaign. So how do we do it? Well, you need a document, some sort of template to lay out what it is you're trying to achieve with this particular piece of marketing. So what do you need to put in your marketing brief? We're going to go through it, but not in any real great detail. And I might try and give you a slight or some examples of what I've got for the marketing brief that I use for the Atomic Success Program, if we get time. I'm conscious that I don't want to run over the 15 minutes. So what is contained in the marketing brief? What is on the document? What's on the template that's so important that you can't exist without it? Well, it all starts with your why, your vision, your values, and your purpose. That is what starts your marketing brief with. And it's never a bad idea to reiterate what it is that your marketing briefs about, and your marketing should really be, if you like, a representation of your company. What goes into your marketing should be exactly the same as the experience a customer will have when they come to your business. Therefore, having the first bit never does any harm to write down the company overview. What is your company mission? What are the organizational values? And what do you want to achieve? What is your vision? And then the purpose of your company and the purpose of this project. Write them down. It helps you get in the mood. It helps you explain to somebody, and we'll get into the reason for having a marketing brief in a micro business, which is what most people listening to this will be. They'll be in a business with 1 to 9 employees. Very, very few independent garages sort of scale beyond that sort of size. Some do, don't get me wrong, but most people listening to this will be in a micro business. If you're listening to this and you're in a SME, then a lot of what I say will be applicable, but you're probably scaled beyond the help that I can provide. However, hang around, you might pick something up. So once you've got and you've written down your why, your vision, your values, and your purpose, and you've got that written back down, it never harms, as I say, to write those down, to get that focus back, to make sure that you're talking and the language you're going to use are all around your why. Why are you doing this campaign? And then it's a brief summary, if you like, an executive summary of what it is you want to achieve, so that anyone picking up the document can recognize the company from the why, the vision, the values, and the purpose of the campaign, and then a summary. Just a very brief overview of what it is you're trying to achieve. Therefore, they don't have to read the rest of the document. And the reason for this introduction is, if you're doing the marketing yourself, this is all a good place to get your brain back in the right space, so you're going to be using the language of your business, the language of your vision, the language that suits your values and your purpose. But if you are outsourcing your marketing, which you might be doing as you start to grow your business, this allows the people that are doing your marketing for you to get a feel for what your company's like. And that summary that allows that person to think, right, if they've got a team of people in your outsourcers, they may pick someone specific for this particular task, aligned with your basic summary at the beginning. So once we've got that, what we want to then outline is our goals and our objectives for the marketing campaign. What do we want to achieve? And these must be measurable goals, and they must be SMART. By SMART, we mean specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. So that is what we want to do. So whatever your goals are, and it doesn't really matter, they must be measurable. Your goals and objectives must somehow be quantifiable in some way. So remember, recently we did some training on metrics, and data is what we measure. Metrics are when we're comparing it to. So we could have a simple metric of increasing the number of customers in Q3 as opposed to Q1. And that would give us a metric because we're comparing it to internal data, and we have an objective. We want more customers. Something as simple as that. Then, so once we know what it is we're trying to achieve, it's the next thing we want to write down is the target audience. Who is this marketing campaign aimed at? Are we going B2B? Are we going B2C? Is that business to business or business to customer? What we want to know here is the ideal customer. And this is where if we've already developed avatars of our ideal customers, we can use that already existing information to slot into here. If we're going after a new customer, a new market segment, what we need to know is who hangs about in that segment. And this could be research that you need to do. And this is the point of the brief, is if you don't know who the message is for, how can you construct the message? It's elementary stuff when you sit down and think about it. But if you just sit in front of your keyboard and say, oh, I'm going to do a Facebook post, what's the chances of you hitting your target audience if you don't know who that audience is? Or are you doing a Facebook post and hoping to attract, or everyone on Facebook is your target customer? Because that's what it is. If you just put it out there, it becomes incredibly woolly instead of laser focused. Remember, the point of the marketing brief is that focus. This will bring, if you like, your crosshairs right on the target of your ideal customer with the ideal message for whatever it is you're trying to achieve. And the next thing is going to be, basically, you're going to outline how you're going to do it. So the strategy you're going to use, the deliverables you're going to use, the content, the timeline, and the budget. And this is all sort of obvious stuff, but if you're doing it for yourself, it's fine, and you probably don't need to put too much detail in here. However, if you're outsourcing this is where this document becomes incredibly powerful, because what you're going to do is you're going to tell them the strategy that you want to employ. The marketing strategy that you want to employ is the next thing that you write down. So what is that? Are you going to use a purely audio, a purely visual, or a mixture of both? Are you going to go with the written word? Is it going to be a local campaign? Are you going to be using a celebrity, if you like? You know, there are so many different variables to the strategy, but you must agree it. You must write it down, and you've got to go into quite some detail on your marketing strategy if you're outsourcing it. Even if you're doing it yourself, you ought to really talk about what it does. So here's an extract of my marketing strategy for Atomic Success. So the marketing strategy includes Facebook posts featuring high impact direct marketing posts and content videos, adding friends and posting in other groups to raise awareness. We plan to secure relationships with 4 leading influencers to promote the group. And then I've listed the influencers, I won't put them on there. And then throughout the next 6 months, delivering content, seminars and training courses and pointing back towards the group. Our brand is going to be disruptive and differs from others by promising to give away the training. We're using images, videos and copy that should reflect the tone and speak to the businesses in need of help. That is my marketing strategy. So you can see that it's quite detailed. I've thought about what it is that I'm going to do and how am I going to do it. So that's an example of the marketing strategy. So the next thing that we talk about, once we know what the strategy to be used is the deliverables. And basically what you're doing here, you're going to outline how you're going to do it. So this is what I've said I'm going to do in terms of the following deliverables, which is 1 to 3 unique Facebook posts per week. So I do go on my personal profile and I do 1 to 3 Facebook posts per week. I also do 2 unique video clips of 3 minutes or less per week. Now I haven't been following up on this too well because I find this one fairly difficult to do within the time frames I've got. But the next one video, 15 minutes in length every week on a training topic within one of the 5 pillars of business success. Then I aim to do a number of direct messages and 1 atomic call every week. They are the deliverables that I need to work on to achieve my goals in terms of the Atomic Success Program. So you can see where the deliverables go. Then we've got content. Now, what we talk about here is what is got to be in every single piece of marketing material. And what I call this is content. You can call it mandatory content if you like. And if what we're saying here is the communication is, or a reminder to you if you're doing the marketing is, all documents in this project must include a call to action. So what must the people do once they've consumed the material? What is the next step? A call to action. They must all have the logo, and it all must contain content that has some value to the audience. It must always come back to the value added to the audience. That's what I'm saying the content should be about. Next one, timeline. Pretty obvious. But what we're going to talk about here is the project timeline. So you can then break this down into phases, which is what I've done. So the project timeline includes 3 phases. So in my example, I've got 3 phases. Phase 1 target deadline is the end of March. The phase 3 target timeline is the end of October. And then the 3rd phase timeline is the end of December. And then what I've done in the goals and objectives, what I've done is I've given each of those phases separate goals and objectives. Now this allows me to if you like, consider those goals and objectives and up the ante or drop it down slightly to find out what is or isn't working, to make sure that I'm going to get to where I need to get to. So if you've been watching it for a while, you'll know that one of my goals for this year, by the end of this year, was to have 500 members in the group. And we're over that. So I've readjusted that goal to 600 members by the end of the year. So you can see how breaking it down into phases, one makes the goals more manageable and more realistic and achievable from our SMART goal setting, but also allows us to revise those goals if we're overachieving or underachieving, to make sure that we don't get demotivated or we don't think this marketing is a waste of time. Now, it's really important that when we set the goals and we have the timeline, that those sort of timelines are adhered to. We want to deliver this by a certain period. So if the first phase is to design the marketing campaign, it's got to be ready to go at that point. In the second phase is maybe deliver, version 1, and this 3rd phase is version 2. The end outcomes must be aligned with those versions, and you can up or drop, if you like, the outcome depending on how successful you've been. But it must have a timeline. If you're working with yourself, give yourself a timeline. If somebody else is doing it, you're outsourcing this, make sure they know when they've got to deliver what by when. So next is the budget, and that is basically how much the budget is for this entire project. And then you can break the budget down into various different bits and pieces. So the budget for my project was £2,400, and that was £1,000 for digital resources, £1,000 for ads, and £400 for travel. That's how I broke down my marketing budget. So I've got £1,000 worth of marketing budget in just for paid ads. Remember that even if you're not doing paid advertising, even if you're doing free to delivery, so a Facebook video like this is free for me to do, but it actually takes time, and that time isn't free. So in your budget can be a financial budget, but it can also be a time constraint. How long are you going to do it? And you can measure then how much it costs in terms of time. You can convert that time into revenue, and if you like, have a budget based on that. And finally, the last thing, if your marketing brief is for an outsourcer, for somebody else who's going to do this, make sure they know who the contact person is within the company they're doing the work for, i.e. in your company, who the right person to contact is for anything to do with that marketing campaign. And that is what should go in the marketing brief. I hope that's been of some help. If you've got any questions, please put them in the messaging or in the comments. If not, have a really nice rest of your evening, or whenever you consume this content. Stay safe and good luck.